We talk about authenticity all the time in marketing and speaking plainly. I'm always saying, how do we ground this in action to get people to explain specifically what they want? This is a great technique, and here's another one. I researched the unwritten rules of work for the working class and neurodivergence. My book to make this accessible and not just locked away in academic journals is coming out this fall. I've released a free pre-release chapter. It's linked in my bio. And the one I release is on indirect communication, which is what this commenter was talking about. The unwritten rule of indirect communication is one of the first things that people notice when they take this work boot off and put that dress shoe on. It's also very frustrating for people who are neurodivergent and don't read contextual cues in the same way that neurotypical people do. Coincidentally, 70% of business leaders say that communication is their number one business problem. And international studies have found that across countries, miscommunication is one of the number one reasons that people lose money because of projects having to start over or be delayed or not being done right due to miscommunications. You can read my tips for leaders, HR, and staff in the free chapter that I've released. But this commenter reminded me of another technique that I learned in, I believe, this book, Originals by Dr. Adam Grant. It was definitely one of his books where he talks about the research on people who have polarizing ideas and how it's very hard for them to find a middle ground. Because if you ask someone why they think something should happen, they stay polarized. However, a trick is to ask them how they plan on something to be implemented. Because when you think of the process of how you're going to do something, you move towards the middle. And that's not just on a political spectrum, though this certainly helps in political discussions as well. It also builds trust because in a work environment, if you throw out a new idea and someone asks you how, and you're able to provide some answers, it shows that you thought it through. And this is across levels. Also, if you're in a leadership position and you're ready to answer the how, that's pretty critical for building trust and for showing your competence. I know someone right now who their business is in a restructure and people found out and they had to announce early, and nobody in leadership can answer what anything is going to look like or even when that's going to be transparent. And it's a mess. But thinking about the how is important when developing your plan because you also want to do something feasible and you want to do something that's going to be able to build consensus to get people to build your army behind the idea because one person cannot change an organization. We have to work together. That's why every chapter in my book has recommendations for leaders, for staff, and for HR. Some positions have more power than others, but my goal is to help y'all have the tools for dialogue to navigate these challenges moving forward. And you can't do that with unwritten rules in the way. Before we wrap up, if any of this resonates with you and you're ready to see how it can be integrated into your work life, you can book with me on my website. If you're not sure where to get started, the first 20 minutes are free, and that's the white button above me. And if you're ready to dive into coaching, click the purple one on the top. I'll put the links in the description of this video.